My deadbeat brother demanded a family discount on my new house, and my parents backed HIMUP. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 30, and I'm about to lose my mind. I finally managed to save enough for a down payment on a tiny house, literally my dream. Told my family at dinner, thinking they'd be happy for me. Wrong. My younger brother, Caleb, the golden child of course, immediately asks if he can move in. Just until I get back on my feet, he says. He's always getting back on his feet, which translates to leeching off our family. He's never had a real job and blows through money like it's nothing. My parents, bless their hearts, immediately chime in about family helping family. I'm the middle child, perpetually overlooked. They guilt-tripped me hard. Now I'm stuck with him as a roommate, and it's a nightmare. Should I just burn it all down? So here's the kicker. I agreed like an idiot. Needed the extra cash, right? Told him market rent, trying to be reasonable. He whined, my parents pressured, I caved, gave him a family discount. Fast forward a few weeks, he's barely paying anything. I'm working double shifts to cover the mortgage. One night, I come home exhausted, ready to crash. Caleb's friends are everywhere. Music blasting, beer cans littered across my living room. I see Caleb in the kitchen, laughing, holding what looked like my grandmother's antique vase. It was a priceless family heirloom. Before I could even speak, he puts it down on the counter next to a half-eaten pizza. I lost it. Caleb, what the hell are you doing with that? He just shrugs. Chill out, man, it's just a vase. Just a vase. I felt this wave of nausea, like I was going to be sick. My mom always said that vase was meant for me. It was the only thing I had left of her. I pointed at it, hands shaking. That's not just a vase, it's irreplaceable. He rolled his eyes. Whatever, it's not like it's broken. Then one of his drunk buddies bumps the counter and the vase, it falls, shatters into a million pieces. I saw red. The room started spinning. My parents, when I called them, blamed me. Said I shouldn't have had such a valuable thing out in the open. Are you kidding me? That's when I knew I was done. This wasn't just about a vase. It was about years of being treated like a doormat. This was the last straw, I screamed. I actually screamed. I don't even remember what I said, just this primal yell of rage and grief. Caleb and his idiot friends just stared at me, mouths agape. Finally, Caleb has the audacity to say, "Dude, what's your problem? It's just a vase. You're acting like someone died." Just a vase, that's when I snapped. I started picking up the larger pieces of the broken vase carefully like they were made of glass, which they were. I held one up right in Caleb's face. This, I said, my voice shaking, was my grandmother's. It was the only thing I had left of her. It was priceless. He just scoffed. So, get over it, it's just a thing. Just a thing. I felt this cold rage wash over me. I turned and walked to my room, grabbed my phone and called my mom. Sobbing, I told her what happened. Her response: "Well, Ethan, maybe you shouldn't have had such a valuable thing out where it could get broken. You know how Caleb is." "Are you kidding me?" I couldn't speak. I just hung up, my own mother blaming me. Protecting him, again, I called my dad, same story. "He didn't mean to do it, Ethan, he's just a young man having fun." Having fun, ATMY expense, in MY house. With MY grandmother's priceless heirloom, that's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a sibling squabble. This was a toxic, dysfunctional family dynamic that I'd been trapped in my entire life. They would always choose him. They would always blame me. And I was done. I went back into the living room, pointed at the door and said, "Get out, all of you, get out." Caleb actually laughed. "This is my house too, dude." "No," I said, my voice dangerously low. "It's not, you're squatting, you haven't paid rent in weeks, you've destroyed my property, you are out." He started to argue, but I cut him off. "I'm calling the police if you don't leave, right now." They finally left, grumbling and cursing under their breath. I stood there in the silence, surrounded by broken porcelain and shattered expectations. And I knew deep down that this was just the beginning. A week later, and things have gone nuclear. After I kicked Caleb and his crew out, I spent the next few days meticulously documenting everything. Photos of the damage, screenshots of his missed rent payments, even saved the neighbor's voicemail about the noise complaints. I consulted a lawyer and started the eviction process. I was calm. I was rational. I was done. Then my Aunt Carol called. Aunt Carol, who I haven't spoken to in years, suddenly wants to talk some sense into me. She proceeded to tell me what a disgrace I was. How could I do this to my own brother? Didn't I realize family is everything? She said I was being selfish and heartless, that Caleb was just going through a rough patch, and that I should be ashamed of myself. As if I was the one who broke a priceless family heirloom and threw ragers in someone else's house. The audacity. Then came the text messages. My mom, pleading with me to forgive Caleb. My dad, sending me guilt-tripping articles about the importance of family unity. My other aunt, who I barely know, chimed in with a lecture about how I'm breaking mom's heart. I'm starting to feel like I'm in some twisted reality show. My work is suffering, I can't focus. I'm constantly on edge, waiting for the next attack. I'm snapping at coworkers, I barely sleep. This whole thing is consuming my life. This morning, I woke up to find my car keyed. A long, deep scratch down the driver's side. I just stood there staring at it, feeling this hollow ache in my chest. This isn't about the car. It's about them trying to break me, trying to intimidate me into backing down. Well, guess what? It's not working. This has gone way beyond a family squabble. This is war. And I'm just getting started. I'm documenting everything. Every phone call, every text message, every act of vandalism. I'm going no contact with everyone except my lawyer. I am done being their punching bag. I will not be silenced. I'm going to fight this, even if it's the last thing I do. Wish me luck, Reddit, I'm going to need it. So I work with this woman, Maria. She's a therapist, and honestly, a total lifesaver. I'd been avoiding the break room because, well, everyone there is all family is everything, and I didn't want to hear it. But I was desperate for coffee, so I risked it. Maria was there, thank God, and no one else. I kinda mumbled something about family drama, and she picked up on it right away. Want to talk about it? She asked, all gentle and understanding. At first, I hesitated. This whole thing felt so messed up, I was almost ashamed to admit it, but I spilled. The whole ugly saga. The vase, the eviction, the keyed car, the guilt trips, everything. Her eyes got wider and wider as I talked. When I finished, she just said, "Wow, Ethan, that's incredibly toxic." Toxic. Hearing someone else say it out loud, it was like a punch to the gut. I kinda just stared at her, speechless. "You're being manipulated," she continued, "and your feelings are completely valid. It's not your responsibility to fix your brother, and you absolutely have the right to protect yourself and your property." Hearing that validated, it was like a dam broke inside me. I actually started crying. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear those words. "Your family is using guilt and emotional blackmail to control you," she explained. "They've created this dynamic where Caleb is the perpetual victim, and you're the responsible one who has to clean up his messes. It's not healthy, and it's not your fault. Not my fault." Those words echoed in my head. For years, I'd felt this weight of responsibility for Caleb, this guilt for not being able to fix him. Maria helped me see that I wasn't the problem, they were. "You need to set boundaries," she said firmly. "You need to prioritize your own well-being. It's okay to say no to family. In fact, sometimes it's necessary." That conversation changed everything. It gave me the strength to finally stand up for myself. It gave me permission to protect myself. I'm still terrified about what's going to happen, but for the first time, I feel like I'm not alone in this fight. I'm finally starting to see things clearly. And I'm not backing down. So, I found out Caleb had been throwing parties at my house while I was at work. Parties, like full-on ragers. A neighbor called me, furious, complaining about the noise and the trash left all over the lawn. I was mortified. I mean, I'm trying to build a life here and this idiot is turning my house into a frat house. But that wasn't even the worst part. I came home that night, dreading what I'd find. The place was trashed, beer cans everywhere, furniture overturned. And then, I saw it. My great-grandmother's antique vase. The one my mom had always promised me, the one that survived 2 world wars and a house fire, the one that represented everything about my family's history. It was gone, vanished. Poof, panic set in. I searched everywhere, under the couch, behind the TV, in the closets, nothing. Finally I found it, or what was left of it. Smashed to pieces in the backyard, hidden under a pile of garbage bags, like it was trash. I lost it. This wasn't just a vase. This was a symbol. A symbol of my family, my history, my connection to my grandmother. And Caleb, that entitled, selfish, destructive little brat, had destroyed it, along with any remaining shred of hope I had for our relationship, for my family. It was like something inside me snapped. Years of resentment, of being overlooked, of being the family's emotional and financial punching bag, it all came flooding out. I felt this wave of nausea, followed by this cold, hard rage. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, and I couldn't breathe. I didn't cry, I didn't yell, I just broke. And in that moment of brokenness, something shifted. The fear, the guilt, the self-doubt, it all evaporated, replaced by this steely resolve, this absolute certainty that I was done. I was done being the good son. I was done being the responsible one. I was done being their doormat. That vase, it wasn't just a vase. It was the last straw, the breaking point, the catalyst that finally set me free. And I knew in that moment exactly what I needed to do. I needed to burn it all, DOWN. Metaphorically, of course. I needed to cut ties, protect myself, rebuild my life without them. And I was going to do it no matter the cost. Alright, Reddit, buckle up, because this is where things get interesting. After the vase incident, I knew I couldn't just scream into the void anymore. I needed a plan. A goddamn ironclad plan. This wasn't about revenge, though, believe me, the thought crossed my mind. This was about survival. This was about finally taking control of my life. First, I went full CSI on my house, documented everything. Photos of the shattered vase, RIP, Grandma's legacy, pictures of the party carnage, the neighbor's voicemail saved and transcribed. I even printed out Caleb's pathetically sporadic Venmo payments, the ones he called rent. I had a file, people, a thick one, evidence. Next, I lawyered up. Found a guy who specialized in landlord-tenant disputes. Expensive, yes. Worth it, absolutely. He laid out my options, told me what I could realistically expect. Eviction was a go. Finally, some good news. Then came the hard part, preparing for the inevitable family fallout. I knew this was going to be a nuclear explosion. I prepped myself for the guilt trips, the accusations, the tears. I practiced saying no in the mirror. I wrote down all the ways they'd try to manipulate me and planned my responses. I was building MY defenses, brick by metaphorical brick. I also knew I needed backup. Talking to Maria was a game changer. She validated my feelings, helped me see I wasn't crazy. She gave me the strength to finally believe I deserved better. I also confided in a couple of close friends, the ones who weren't blinded by the family is everything BS. They offered support, a place to crash if things went south, and most importantly, they reminded me I wasn't alone. Support system, assembled. Mentally, I was preparing for war. I knew this was going to be the hardest thing I'd ever done. I was ready to go low or no contact. I was ready to lose them. And you know what? That thought was terrifying, but also strangely liberating. I was finally prioritizing my well-being over their dysfunctional needs. I was done being a victim. I was done being their ATM. I was done being silenced. I was ready to fight. And I had a feeling this was going to be one hell of a battle. Stay tuned, Reddit. The confrontation is coming. Sunday dinner at my parents' house. The air was thick with the usual Sunday roast smell, but this time it was suffocating. Everyone was there. Mom, Dad, my older sister, who somehow always manages to stay neutral in these family dramas, Caleb looking surprisingly smug, and even Aunt Carol, the self-proclaimed family therapist. They were all smiling, oblivious to the bomb I was about to drop. I took a deep breath and placed the file, my meticulously compiled dossier of Caleb's destruction, on the table. Silence. "What's this, Ethan?" My dad asked, his voice laced with that familiar condescending tone. "Evidence," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "Evidence of why Caleb is being evicted from my house." My mom gasped. "Evicted? Ethan, what are you talking about?" I opened the file and started laying out the photos. The shattered vase, the trashed living room, the overflowing garbage cans. "This is what your precious Caleb has been doing to my house while I'm at work. Throwing parties, destroying my property, disrespecting everything I've worked for," Caleb scoffed. "Dude, it was just a few parties, chill out." "Just a few parties," I repeated, my voice rising. "You destroyed a priceless family heirloom, Caleb. You turned my house into a frat house. You haven't paid a dime in rent." I pulled out the Venmo screenshots. "Here's your rent, Caleb, pathetic." My mom started crying. "Ethan, how can you be so cruel? He's your brother." "He's a parasite," I said, looking directly at Caleb. "And you," I turned to my parents, "you enable him, you make excuses for him, you blame me for his mistakes." Aunt Carol chimed in. "Ethan, family is everything, you need to forgive him." "Forgive him?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter laugh. "I've been forgiving him my entire life. I'm done. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done cleaning up his messes. I'm done being your scapegoat." The room was silent. They were all staring at me, mouths agape, shocked. Finally, "Caleb has 30 days to move out," I continued, my voice shaking but firm. "If he doesn't, I'll pursue legal action. And you," I said to my parents, "you can choose to support him, but you will not guilt-trip me into enabling his destructive behavior anymore. I am done." That's when the power shifted. I could feel it. They'd always held the emotional reins, but now I was holding them. I'd finally spoken my truth, and they had no response. My dad stammered, "Ethan, we just want what's best for everyone." "What's best for me," I said, meeting his gaze, "is to finally protect myself And that's exactly what I'm doing. I closed the file, stood up, and walked out, leaving them sitting there, stunned into silence. For the first time in my life, I felt a sense of peace, a sense of liberation. It was the beginning of my new life, a life free from their toxic grip, a life where my dreams mattered, and it felt amazing. It's been a few months since the Sunday dinner showdown, as I've come to call it. The fallout was, well, pretty much what I expected, nuclear. My mom didn't speak to me for weeks. My dad tried the whole disappointed father routine. Aunt Carol sent me a few more guilt-tripping texts, then blessedly went silent. Caleb, predictably, played the victim. He dragged his feet moving out, leaving a trail of destruction and unpaid bills in his wake. It was exhausting, but I held my ground. I had my lawyer, my friends, and Maria in my corner. I wasn't backing down. The eviction process was messy, but it worked. He's out. Good riddance. The house is slowly returning to normal. I've replaced the broken vase with a picture of my grandmother, a reminder of who I'm doing this for. The biggest surprise, my sister. She actually reached out. Not to lecture, not to defend Caleb, but to apologize. She admitted she'd always seen the dysfunction but was too afraid to speak up. We've been talking more, and it's nice. Having even one family member on my side has been huge. Support SYSDMS are everything. My relationship with my parents is complicated. We're talking again, but it's strained. They still don't fully understand why I did what I did. They still see Caleb as the baby who needs protecting. I've accepted that I may never have the relationship with them that I crave. And that's okay. I'm learning to be okay with that. The biggest change has been in me. I'm different, stronger. I'm finally putting myself first. I'm setting boundaries. I'm saying no without guilt. I'm building a life I actually want. I'm even starting to date again, baby steps, people, baby steps. Therapy has also been a game changer. I'm working through the years of resentment, the guilt, the self-doubt. I'm learning to forgive myself for not being the perfect son. I'm learning to value myself. This whole experience has been brutal, painful, exhausting, but it's also been liberating. Like I've finally broken free from some invisible cage I didn't even know I was in. I'm still healing, still rebuilding, but I'm doing it on my own terms, and that's a powerful feeling. So Reddit, has anyone else gone through something similar? How did you handle it? Any advice for navigating this new, uncharted territory of, actually having a backbone? Let me know. I could use the wisdom.